Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about how to not get sucked into the how to not get addicted to plastic surgery, how to not get sucked into the vicious cycle of plastic surgery. I would define I would define that as not being able to stop, just getting one thing after another to the point where you look unrecognizable. And if you've been following my channel, you know that I've gotten plastic surgery. But like anything else in life, it gets to a point, and I think everything in excess is bad. I think there are two ways to cut this cycle. The first one is through role models, changing your role models. And the second one is working with your mind and understanding energy. Energy. Everything's energy. The first one, getting role models, right? Let's say you've gotten plastic surgery. Let's say now you want to change something else, right? I'll use myself as an example. I got a nose job. Then, once I don't know what I was on, but I was like, you know what else I should do? This was like 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Wait, no, sorry. This was before I got my nose job. This was like 4 years ago, something crazy. And I was like, you know what I should do? I should get my forehead reduced. There's a plastic surgery procedure where they shorten your plastic surgery. It's like kind of gory. I don't know what that was. They like do an incision here and then pull your scalp to the front. And I think like they remove some skin here. So it's actually very interesting. I talked to a doctor. Thankfully, I never did it because I love my forehead now. Like, I'm not just saying this. I really love the size of my forehead. But that didn't come like, I wasn't born loving my forehead. Mm, I was born accepting my forehead. I never thought too much about my forehead. And then, you know, I guess in the era of Instagram where everybody was like, doing the era of like filters, and everybody was like, there was a time where a lot of people were like shortening their foreheads, and I think that kind of stuck with me. And then at some point in my life I just decided that my forehead was huge, and I really like, if I could have a bigger forehead, I'm not even kidding, I kind of would. Like, I usually, my hairstyle is always like kind of like brush to the back, so you can get a nice view of my forehead. It's actually five head. I can fit another finger in there. But anyways, I spoke with a doctor. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And then I was like, I guess it's at some point I just forgot about it. And then I was like, no, like I want to get my nose done. And I got my nose done. Something I don't regret. But and I actually don't have anything against those forehead procedures, even though I love big foreheads now. But, you know, like there's somebody that might have, I don't know, like a big, like something, I don't know, like super huge, and they want to change that. Whatever, you do you. But my thing is, when it gets like, when you just keep having one thing after the other, after the other, like it's one thing to change something about yourself, but to change everything, like to change everything is crazy, because you're telling me there's no way there's that many things that are wrong with you. There's no way. There's no way. Like, there's no one on this world that I was like, oh my God, they need to change everything. No one. No one. No one. I mean, there's like this girl I saw on TikTok, and she had a very huge nose. And this thing was like huge. And she got a nose job, which is fine. Like, I can see why she wanted it, because it was like very disproportionate to her face. But there was nothing else on her face that I was like, oh, she should change that too. I mean, she had beautiful lips. They were thin, but I think I have naturally juicy big lips. I like them. But there's also beauty in small lips. Sure, I understand people that want to get lip injections, but when they get lip injections and then fillers here and then fillers there and then like change like it's about change. I think my thing is no one should have to change everything about themselves. And I understand so the people that are saying no one should change anything about themselves. But I view um plastic surgery as kind of like a vessel for self-expression and creation, right? Like I think it's kind of cool how we can there's like maybe something we don't like and we can go to someone and they can change it, you know? It's so interesting how like science is today and plastic surgery, you know? I think if you had gone to somebody in the sixth century and told them, "Oh, you can get a nose job." Like if you had just told some like peasant in the sixth century, "Hey, you can get like there's this thing you travel from the future and you're like there's this thing where you go to a doctor and they anesthetize you and you don't feel anything and when you wake up you have a totally different nose." I think that's so like I think they would have accused you of witchcraft and of being crazy and they would have probably stoned you. Probably. But I'm excited to see where science and plastic surgery is heading. I'm sorry, I just am. Okay, so I think I made my point, right? So anyways, fast forward after my nose job, I wasn't feeling too great about my forehead, even though I had forgotten about it. It's not like I was like super in love with it until I started reading a lot about or just learning a lot about perception. And I was like, how far can this idea of perception go? And I remember I read something about Queen Mary of Scots or Queen Elizabeth and how in those times, I think it was 1500s, like mid 1500s, it was popular for women to shave their hairlines to make their foreheads bigger. Or they would like pluck their hair, which sounds horrible to pluck your hair from your head. But they would do it because that was like the thing back then, right? And I was like, wow, like, you know what changed from then to now? Our perception. And by the way, if you can use perception to not change anything about yourself and say, you know what, I don't care about what society says now, I love myself, that's awesome. That's really great. It really is. But I understand some people, like myself, I mean, I'd be the biggest hypocrite if I was like telling people, no, don't change anything about yourself. Or if I would lie and be like, I regret my nose job. No, I don't regret my nose job. And I understand what I was feeling. So I understand what other people are feeling. But again, it's about people wanting to change everything about themselves where I'm like, you know what, we have to maybe not do that. So I looked at that and then I remember someone, okay, this actually changed my life. I saw on a TikTok this woman that said, it popped up on my For You page. I don't know if TikTok was monitoring me. And this lady was like, you know, in Disney or for movies, they prefer to hire people that have really like unique like things about their faces that aren't exactly beautiful. Now, I don't know if you remember this actress. She was like this I think she was in a lot of movies in the 80s and she had a unique nose. It wasn't like a gorgeous nose, but it was unique to her, right? And then she got a nose job, guys. She got a nose job and then after she got a nose job, she stopped getting work. And she was like the bomb at that time, you know? Like the bomb, she was like so hot at that time. And she was really famous. And at the height of her like fame, her career, she stopped getting roles because she changed something about herself that wasn't beautiful to most people's standards, but made her unique. So I'm like, wow. And then it made sense to me. We grew up watching actors of Hollywood not necessarily be the most beautiful people, but we grew up, like most people, I would say, grow up loving these actors, right? So, how is it that we grow up loving actors because despite of their unique faces, and then at some point we decide, oh, that's not beautiful anymore. You know, Angelina Jolie, I think everybody can agree that she's like one of the most beautiful women ever, like queen. And she has a big forehead, right? And I was like, wow, like I was gonna change something about myself that at some point we were like, yeah, that's totally fine, you know? We would Nobody looked at Angelina Jolie and was like, oh, she has a big forehead. Why doesn't like that added to her beauty? It made her unique and kind of adds like a masculinity to her face. I feel like that's what I like about big foreheads. They kind of add, especially on women, they kind of add like this masculine tone that like makes it really beautiful, and it really contrasts with your more feminine features. There's also Rihanna. There's also, I think, Rachel McAdams. Let me see who else. I bet you there's probably a bunch of other actresses. Olivia Wilde. She has a huge forehead. I love it. Do you think she cares about that? No. Does she get roles in movies? Yes. Do we go watch those movies? Yes. Do we remember her if we, like, and do we recognize her on the street because she has these strong unique features? Yes. When I began seeing those things, I was like, wow. Like, so many things are just like so many things that our generation wants to change about itself is just perspective. And we don't stop to think how we basically like grew up as kids going to the movies and adoring these celebrities that don't all have beautiful faces. So why do we feel the need to have beautiful faces? Like only beautiful faces and only like beautiful features. Like everything has to be beautiful and dainty and delicate and super feminine and luscious and sexy. Like some people, some women have, let's say they don't have, Giselle Bundchen. She doesn't necessarily have the most like beautiful nose to today's standards, but in its she has a beautiful nose. Like it's not picture perfect. It's not like what we go ask for when we go get a nose job, but I love her face. So yeah, that definitely made me view things differently. And then every time there was something about myself I didn't like, I just Googled, and this is going to sound crazy, I just Googled celebrities because I was like, I have to get this thought out of my nose with proof. So I would, let's say, like once I didn't like my eye bags. And then I Googled like people, like celebrities with eye bags. And then I noticed how, like, despite their eye bags, they're incredibly beautiful. Also, something I want to point out when it comes to Botox and fillers, there's a lot of actors that are getting Botox and fillers. I think Bradley Cooper, he just got this. I think he just got like this surgery on his eyelids. Oh my gosh. He didn't need that. And if you see actors nowadays that have like, and they're on the big screen and they have fillers and Botox, like there's something kind of uncanny about it. And the movie just doesn't feel the same versus like when that stuff wasn't popular and all these actors had all these like wrinkles and all these lines, and there's like a charm to it. There's like a charm to it. The same thing goes for BBLs. You look at Marilyn Monroe. She didn't have, okay, perfect example. She didn't have a BBL, right? Her tushy was not super round and not big and not juicy and not plump. It was just, cute tushy. Hello, Marilyn Monroe. Like, no one goes, oh, she needed a BBL. You know what? No one says, you know what she needed? No one has said this. I think this is like one of those sentences you'll never hear. You know what people never say? Oh my gosh, Marilyn Monroe. The only thing she needed was the BBL. Her body was charming. You look at these Greek goddesses, I mean, Greek statues of women. I mean, if they were going to go through the trouble of making a statue of some woman, you know, they were like, oh my God, this is the epitome of beauty. No one like, they have charm. They're so beautiful. Like these statues, we travel. How many people travel to Greece every year just to see these statues, right? So it makes you wonder, like, wow, we grew up seeing how these things didn't really matter. And then all of a sudden, we want to change everything about ourselves. There's that. I think just change your role models. You know, if you, let's say, if you don't like your lips, you want to get lip filler, go watch movies from the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. Plenty of actresses with thin lips. Still beautiful. Still memorable. If you don't like your lips, if you think your lips are too big, you know, look at, same thing, look at models, look at actresses that have big lips, you know. Naomi Campbell, I think she has beautiful big lips. Angelina Jolie, you know. Doesn't even matter if the shape is weird. Like, a lot of things really make you unique, and you should keep those things. I mean, I personally think that my under eye bags make me unique. They keep me unique. My forehead, you know, my eyes are uneven. I like it. I have hooded eyes. Gonna keep them that way. Wish they would get even more hooded. My teeth aren't straight, but you go to Japan, they love crooked teeth. Yeah, that's that. And then I guess I made my point, right? And I really want to stress out how I really got over myself by, like, instead of just looking at myself in the mirror all the time, looking at other people and looking at things that made them beautiful and seeing, wow, like all these things that I didn't like, I grew up seeing them in other people and I love them, right? I never once looked at an actress. I never once looked at Rihanna and was like, oh, her forehead's too big. Never. I don't know what came upon me that I was like, I need a forehead reduction. You know, you get what I'm saying? I'm gonna drink some water. Second point is understanding mind and energy. Now, maybe you grew up not liking something about yourself. I already gave you one idea. Change your role models, right? If your role models all have, let's say, you don't like your under eye bags and all your role models are women on Instagram that Photoshop their under eye bags or people that just weren't born without them. Get role models that have under eye bags. Just look at them for a while, you know? Just look at them for a while. That's one. But let's say you grew up and then you grew up like feeling fine about certain parts of your body, but now you're like, I want to be successful. I want to find love. I want to get money. I want to be a model. I want to be a royal queen. And you think that you have to get plastic surgery to get those things. You think in your mind, well, you know, I grew up liking my lips. I don't really have an issue with my lips, but I noticed that all these girls that are super famous on social media and are big influencers and are models and are very popular and they have like these really amazing boyfriends and they have these really amazing careers. They're all getting lip fillers. They all have big lips. Maybe that's what I need in order to get those things. No, that's not what no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. No. Because there are things such as, there are two things, your mind and your energy. And those things can carry you so far without you having to change anything about yourself, right? Marilyn Monroe didn't need a BBL, even though BBLs didn't exist. She didn't need a BBL to be who she is, right? Her fame and her success, it doesn't just come from her beauty. It comes from her energy, her confidence, right? Her passion, her love for acting, her love for beauty and these feminine things, like that comes like her charm that comes from within her. Meghan Markle, she became queen, like not queen, like she became a princess of the royal family. She didn't say, there's never been a princess or there's never been anybody in the royal family of my skin color. That's gonna stop me. I need to bleach my skin. She didn't say that. You know, there are people who change themselves, like celebrities who change themselves in order to be bigger, but that is a path. That's not the only path. Let's say, like, we all know of celebs, I don't have to mention them, but we all know celebrities that, they get plastic surgery, they get a bunch of plastic surgery, but they are where they are not because of their plastic surgery. They are where they are because of their personalities, because of their minds, because of their convictions and their visions, right? If you're a person with vision and conviction and, strong energy and like you say, this is like, I'm just going to do it, you don't need to change things about yourself. Now, I understand that there are like some things that, like for example, let's say you want to be a model. Of course, you're going to have to be like thin, right? Now, that's kind of changing nowadays, but still, I feel like that's what people like. I still feel that's the standard. There are outliers, but the standard I don't think has changed, right? It's like, what is it, like 90 centimeter bust, 60 centimeter waist, 90 centimeter hips. I think it's probably still the same way. Of course, like there are certain paths where you have to be like look a certain way, right? Modeling is one of them. But a lot of things really do have to do with your mind and your energy and I don't want to keep repeating those things because it's going to get boring, but like for example, Naomi Campbell, I think she was the first black supermodel. Now, she didn't say, oh, I can't be a supermodel because I'm I'm like black. She didn't say that. She simply like she had it in her, right? And I don't know if she was the first one. Maybe there was someone else before her, but they all pretty much the same. Like they didn't let that stop them. They didn't think, oh well, all these girls, European models, they have thin lips and that's the standard, and I'm like, like black, and I I need to change this about myself. No, she just, from what I think, she probably just had like a very healthy habit. And of course, like again, you have to be a certain height, at least during that time. I don't know how it is now. I think a lot of things are different, a lot of standards are different, but I think there's like a lot of commonality still. She, even though she was different, she didn't let that stop her, right? Adele, like she was, like a lot of people, they think that they have, in order to be singers, they have to be, extremely hot or beautiful. No, you just have to be talented, right? Or like have a really strong work ethic. You look at a bunch of singers, they all look very different. Taylor Swift looks very different from Cardi B. Cardi B looks very different from Adele. Adele looks very different from Doja Cat. They didn't say, oh, well, I have to be this way. I have to change my lips and my nose and my eyes and my hair color and my. They just understood that they just had to have talent or a lot of work ethic. A lot of things that I feel will get you further because you know what beauty is at the end of the day, yes, it's important for a lot of things, but it isn't the most memorable thing about someone. We see beautiful people every day on TikTok, on Pinterest. They don't all succeed, you know. There's ugly people. They don't all succeed, but a lot of them do. There's beautiful people. They don't all succeed, but a lot of them do. There's, chubby people. A lot of them succeed. A lot of them don't. I feel like it's a lot about what you have. And if you align yourself with something, here's where energy comes in. I think the universe will put those things in your path. I hope I made a good case against plastic surgery, like plastic surgery addiction. I hope you learned something. I hope this video helps. And yeah, toodles, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions and let me know what your thoughts are.